1876, Ulysses S. Grant is president. The telephone has just been invented, and in a small office in New York City, 8 men create the National League of Professional Baseball Clubs. 70 years later, 1946, while baseball has already crowned 42 World Series champions, a group of arena owners create something called the Basketball Association of America. As a side note, the World Series was not held in 1904 due to New York Giants owner John T. Bush, as he considered the American League inferior and refused to face the Boston Americans. Today, that 149-year-old institution is taking lessons from its 79-year-old sibling. The great-grandfather is learning from the great-grandchild. And what they're copying isn't just changing baseball, it's rewriting the fundamental rules of American sports hierarchy. Tonight, Diamond Conspiracies exposes the most shocking role reversal in sports history and the billion-dollar consequences that will reshape America's pastime forever. This is the story of how the student became the teacher. 1954, the NBA is struggling. Games are boring, low-scoring affairs where teams stall endlessly. Danny Biasone, owner of the Syracuse Nationals, has a radical idea: force teams to shoot within 24 seconds. Fast forward to 2022, Major League Baseball faces its own crisis. Games average 3 hours and 4 minutes, the longest in baseball history. Fans are leaving, young viewers aren't arriving. So, MLB does the unthinkable. They copy the NBA's 79-year-old homework. But this wasn't a blind experiment. Back in 2015, when pitch clocks were introduced in AA and AAA, game times dropped 13 minutes in the Pacific Coast League, 16 minutes in the International League. Armed with this evidence, MLB pulled the trigger in 2023. The pitch clock, 15 seconds with no runners, 18 seconds with runners on base. Batters must be in the box and alert to the pitcher with at least 8 seconds remaining. The results were immediate and staggering. Average game time plummeted from 3 hours 4 minutes to 2 hours 40 minutes, 24 minutes shorter. In one season, baseball had solved its biggest problem by copying basketball's 69-year-old solution. But the changes went deeper. Stolen bases jumped from 1.4 to 1.8 per game. Batting averages rose from 243 to 248. Runs per game increased from 8.6 to 9.2. The game wasn't just faster, it was more exciting. Fans noticed. MLB attendance surged 9.6% from 2022 to 2023. The great-grandfather's homework copying had worked. Players were split down the middle. Chris Sale, Boston Red Sox ace. I don't think players want to be there for 3.5 hours. Fans don't want to be there for 3.5 hours. But Andrew Miller, MLBPA representative, fired back. A lot of players, myself included, are not fans of the pitch clock. This isn't something we're trying to pick a fight on. The great-grandfather had learned from the great-grandchild, and it worked. 2017, the NBA launches jersey patch sponsorships as a 3-year pilot program. By 2019, it's permanent. Teams are generating hundreds of millions in new revenue. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred watched those numbers and made a confession that would change baseball forever. This represents a revenue source that is significant enough that it's really impossible for the sport to ignore over the long haul. 2023, the San Diego Padres became the first MLB team to add a sponsor patch. Motorola's logo appears on the sleeve of uniforms worn by Babe Ruth's spiritual descendants. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Front Office Sports and the Harris Poll surveyed America. The results revealed a nation divided. 56% of Americans called the patches tacky. But here's the contradiction that defines modern sports. 83% admitted they understood the economic necessity. Among actual baseball fans, the split was even more dramatic. 51% supported the patches, 49% opposed them. America's pastime had literally divided America. The numbers were too big to ignore. The NBA's patch program averages $10 to $11 million annually per team since its inception. Teams like Golden State are outliers with their $20 million deal with Rakuten. MLB executives saw dollar signs where fans saw desecration. Once again, the 149-year-old institution was taking notes from its 79-year-old sibling. When you map the timeline, the pattern becomes undeniable. NBA shot clock 1954, MLB pitch clock 2023, gap 69 years. NBA jersey patches 2017, MLB jersey patches 2023, gap 6 years. David Ortiz, Red Sox legend, explained the brutal reality. The game is turning a little boring because of the time. If you want to have the millennials watching the game, you definitely need to do something, because this is the ADD that comes with this new generation. The numbers tell the story. NFL revenue $18 billion annually. NBA revenue $12 billion annually. MLB revenue $12 billion annually. Baseball was losing the arms race. This wasn't coincidence. This was systematic study and implementation. MLB executives had been watching the NBA's playbook for years, waiting for the right moment to copy their homework. Shot clocks became pitch clocks. Jersey sponsorships became sleeve patches. The student had become the teacher, and the teacher was an eager pupil. But this raises the ultimate question. What NBA innovation will MLB copy next? Based on the established pattern, here's what happens next. And you can take this timeline to the bank. 2025, batting helmet sponsors expand beyond playoffs. 2026, bat sponsorships become visible during at-bats. 2027, dugout advertising appears on camera. It's already starting. The 2024 MLB playoffs introduced Strauss helmet patches. Fan reaction was swift and brutal. "Let's just NASCAR these boys up," wrote one Twitter user. The NBA didn't stop at jersey patches. They added court sponsors, timeout sponsors, replay sponsors. Every surface became sellable real estate. By 2035, baseball uniforms will be indistinguishable from NASCAR suits. Players will be walking billboards. Every pitch will be brought to you by a different sponsor. The sport that taught America about tradition will become America's most commercialized entertainment product. All because they followed the NBA's playbook. And it all started with one simple question. What can the great-grandfather learn from the great-grandchild? So, here we stand at the crossroads of American sports history. The data is clear. The pattern is undeniable. The future is predictable. 56% of you think the patches are tacky. 83% of you understand the economic necessity. 51% of baseball fans support the changes. 49% oppose them. But here's what the executives and commissioners don't want you to realize. You have the power. Your tickets, your merchandise purchases, your viewership, your voice. Is this smart evolution or cultural surrender? Is MLB finally adapting to modern reality or selling its soul for corporate dollars? The 149-year-old great-grandfather is learning from the 79-year-old great-grandchild. The student has become the teacher. The question isn't what the NBA started. The question is what you're going to do about it. Drop your verdict in the comments. Smart business or tradition betrayal? The future of America's pastime is in your hands. The choice is yours.